My name is Dr. Marlon McKay, and today I would like to be talking about COVID-19, but with respect to vaccines, vaccinations, and everything around it. There are so many questions, so many stories, so many conspiracies. So let's try and break it down into a simple message and just keep it as truthful as possible so that you can understand everything around vaccines. So let's start right at the beginning. What is a vaccine and how does it work? Well, essentially, vaccines prevent diseases that can be dangerous and even deadly or fatal. And so they work with your body's natural defense system in order to generate protection from that particular disease. So what a vaccine does, it helps your body to produce antibodies so that when you are exposed to that particular disease, you then have protection without first having to get the disease. So vaccines are very, very powerful medicine. And unlike most other medications, vaccines prevent. They do not cure, they do not treat, they merely prevent those particular illnesses. Now, common question that I get. So I know of someone who died after taking the vaccine. Yes, the vaccine kills. So many people have died after taking the vaccine. Please remember the medical principle. Just because there is a temporal association, in other words, an association with time around the vaccine, does not mean that there is a causal association. Just because someone died around the time that they took the vaccine does not necessarily mean that the vaccine caused the death. Let me give you an example. In the USA, up until the 30th of August, 369 million doses of vaccines have been given. There were just over 7,200 reported deaths around that time. That's a minuscule 0.002%. In all those cases, no causal link has been found. What about in South Africa? We've already, by the 31st of July, 7 million doses of vaccines were given. There were 53 reported deaths. That's an even more minuscule percent, 0.0007%. SAPRA investigated those 53 deaths. 6 were actually died of COVID, unrelated to the vaccine. In 5 of those cases, there was insufficient information. They didn't give you any detail. The remaining were all coincidental to the vaccine. In other words, there was some pre-existing illness before taking the vaccine or around the time of the vaccine, such as high cholesterol, heart attack, strokes, diabetes, those sorts of things. And in all those cases, no causal link was found related to the vaccine. And I think this is very, very important data. So yes, people die. Just because you've had the vaccine does not mean you're never going to die. People die all the time. And just because someone died around the time that they had the vaccine does not mean that the vaccine killed him. And I would encourage all of us, if you have any related relatives or any family members, anyone who could have died around the time, there are avenues to report it. There are apps that are available. You can report it to SAPRA. Make sure that every single adverse event with the vaccine gets reported. Remember, we don't want any deaths from COVID. We're not trying to cover up anything. So anything bad that happens after vaccine must be reported so that it can be investigated. I hope that makes it very, very clear. What about patients who say, Doctor, but I have clots. I'm worried about clots. I've heard that people died of clots. Very, very, very important point. First thing, there have been a few cases reported with the J&J vaccine. It's more common in women under the age of 60 and usually within 2 weeks of the vaccine. Maybe if I can just add in here, for ladies under the age of 60, it's probably better if you do have a choice, rather take the Pfizer vaccine. But the incidence of blood clots after the vaccine is extremely, extremely small. And let me tell you this, the risk of blood clots with COVID, with the illness, compared to the vaccine, 8 to 10 times higher. So what am I saying? COVID gives you clots, not the vaccine. So if you suffer with clots, a history of any blood clots, you cannot afford to get COVID. And therefore, you are at more risk of getting severe disease with clots. Therefore, you need to get the vaccine first. So if you have clots, be scared of COVID. Do not be scared of the vaccine. Make sure you do get the vaccine. A lot of people say, yeah, I don't want something, I don't know what's in it, and no one's going to give me a vaccine if I don't know the particular ingredients. Well, it's easily available on CDC website, on Pfizer's website. You can just do a Google search, all the ingredients are there. It's subdivided into active ingredients, inactive ingredients, tells you exactly what's in there. So not knowing what is in a vaccine is no excuse for not taking the vaccine. You can look at it, you can decide. It's safe for any religious organizations, religious groups, denominations, anything. With regard to allergies, probably those who are allergic to propylene ethanol may have a problem. Otherwise, nobody is or we can't say that anybody cannot take the vaccine. It is open to everybody. It is safe for virtually every single person on the planet, except this time, of course, children, until the data becomes available. Another problem, patients say, why must I take the vaccine if I'm going to have booster doses all the time? Well, boosters are important. Having to line up for a booster injection, such a third J&J, a second J&J, or a third Pfizer, does not mean the vaccine is not working. It simply means that the protection from the vaccine may wane. We call it waning immunity, may decrease after some time. Maybe 8 months, 10 months, we're still going to find out. And in addition, because of the new variants, we may have then reduced protection for the impending new variants that are still going to come. And so by giving you a booster vaccination dose, all we are doing is boosting your level of antibodies in order to maintain adequate protection and adequate protection for any new variants that come along. And so we don't want, and what you've seen this in Israel, we've seen this in other parts of the world, where there have been more incidents of new cases, especially of mild to moderate disease, amongst the fully vaccinated. And this is purely because we now see that those needed a booster dose. So having a booster dose is also going to become part of our lives in terms of our protection from COVID-19. Why should you get the vaccine? Let me summarize it. It works. It is safe and effective. It protects you from serious illness, from hospitalization and death. It protects your family and your loved ones. You need to have it, especially if you have comorbidities. And by that, I mean obesity, hypertension, with or without diabetes. To build herd immunity, so as many of us can be vaccinated, so that we can have some sense of return to normalcy in our society. The vaccine is free. What a good reason to have it. And for me, very important, it's just the right thing to do as a South African. So in conclusion, as much as we want things to go back to normal, they probably won't. Definitely not soon enough. So let's not waste this pandemic. Let's take care of ourselves. Let's take care of our colleagues, our family, our children, our parents, and our communities. Take care of yourself first. Make sure that you get vaccinated. And encourage a culture of true wellness, be it spiritual, emotional, intellectual, and especially physical. But most importantly, and finally, let's all encourage a culture of vaccination. Let's vaccinate. Don't hesitate, vaccinate. Dr. McKay says, grab the jab. It's the best thing that you can do.